Hey everyone, it's Emma with the SOAP. The SOAP's mission is to support you in growing your company. This weekly show brings you expert tips on starting, scaling, and selling your product. Today, this interview is all about trade shows, how to pick the right one, prep for it, and get the sales that you're hoping for. I'm here today as both lead mentor of the SOAP and my movement. My movement is my clothing company. And to get started, I'll just tell you a little bit about my movement. It is an activewear company that I started in 2012. And I started as direct to consumer, like most people do. And I started by making a pair of leggings that I wanted to wear out and about as well as working out. This is before the athleisure boom, and I couldn't find the cute pair of leggings that I wanted to wear to yoga and then wear out to, happy hour with friends. I'm also a pattern maker, so I had the benefit and also sometimes a curse that I can make all of my own patterns. So then I started tweaking everything that I was doing constantly and came up with my perfect legging and expanded my collection to tank tops, to bra tops, everything that I would wear in the yoga studio. About 2 years ago, so in 2017, 2017, end of 2017, I shifted to wholesale. So I realized that more of my customers were studio owners, yoga studio owners. They needed product for their customers and they wanted them printed on with their logo. So I started making product for them. And as I grew the business, I talked to a lot of people, and one woman, the owner of Fly Feet here in Minneapolis, said that she found all of her product at Active Collective, which is a trade show geared towards activewear and swim. And that planted the seed in my head that a trade show might be a great fit for me eventually. And so as I developed my wholesale collection, which was based on basics for heat pressing and adding logos to, I started to plan for the trade show. And it took me about 2 years before we decided we were ready for that. And I'm going to talk all about what we did to get there. So Active Collective is specifically for gym buyers and boutique owners to go to and buy product from at wholesale prices. So we were really intrigued by Active Collective because it was exactly our target market. Like, my dream customer is either a boutique fitness studio owner, but ideally, in order to grow my business, my goal is focused on corporate level franchise owners. So think Cycle Bar corporate. So the person who's buying for 150 locations. So I went there with the goal of meeting one of those buyers and, better yet, selling to them. And so going into prepping for the trade show, we actually went the year prior to LA and walked the show. The show coordinator led us onto the floor as buyers, and that gave us a really good idea of who was going to be our competition there, if our price points were valid, if our product would stand out there at all. And it was in LA in January, so we were pretty happy to get out of Minneapolis and have an excuse for that. So and we could see all of the printed collateral, we could see what everyone else was doing, and that was really helpful for me and for my business partner to see all of that. One other way that we prepped for it was getting all of our samples ready for the show. And we talked a lot in circles about what we were going to do for samples. It's very different than going to a retail show. We only brought size smalls, and if we needed to fill in a gap, we had a medium or an extra small, we brought that. And then we brought 2 to 3 colors of every style and made sure that the colorways looked really nice on the rack. One thing that we do differently is that we offer pretty much unlimited customization, so you can pick your color, especially if you're ordering like over 100 units. So we wanted to have a good representation of the colors that we could offer, the fabrics that we have, the styles, and that also like helped us narrow in how to plan for our sample making process, which is definitely always a really important part to work with your vendors before you go to make sure you have the samples that you need. So Active Collective is unique because it is a turnkey trade show. So the booth fee was like $5,000, which is a lot, but we didn't have to design the booth at all, except for putting together artwork. So it's different than like Alyssa was talking about yesterday with pop-up shops, where she like spent a lot of money on making sure that she had the right like atmosphere for her booth. For us, it was making sure that we had the right marketing and the right imagery. And then from there, it was pretty simple. What came with the booth were 2 racks, and pretty much our coordinator told us we would have to buy or pay for anything extra. So we were trying to do it as cheap as possible and spend more money on like marketing. There were all these options to add on purchases for marketing. You could pay for an e-blast or like to be included in one of 3 e-blasts. You could pay for an ad in the trade show directory so that like your brand maybe stood out. You could pay for like social media blasts. And we decided to put, I think it was $500 towards one of them. And so we did the e-blast. And I feel like I wasn't surprised by this, but we did not see any return on that. And I felt like the show itself, like meeting the people at the show itself, was better than spending money on extra promotional items. Okay, so I'll go back to what was in the trade show. The booth, we had the 2 racks, a table, and 2 chairs. And we would have bought another rack so that we could at least have a little bit more of a display. And then we didn't realize that everyone else anyone that lived in California brought in their own accessories. So like we would have had to pay to rent a mannequin, and we saw so many people carrying in mannequins. And we're like, oh, if we had known that we could do that and not get in trouble, I probably would have gone on Craigslist or something and like tried to find a mannequin for the day. Didn't kill the booth that we didn't have it, but we did end up going to literally Walmart and buying a cheap rug and some fake plants so that it filled the space a little bit more. And that was it. That was all we really needed. Everything else besides like Aloe Yoga that had like literally 10 booths was really simple. So then for collateral that we spent a lot of money actually and a lot of time on developing a catalog. We had walked the show the year before, like I mentioned, and everyone had line sheets of some sort. Most of them printed just on computer paper, like nicer computer paper, and in color most of the time. And we decided to go the route of like a really professional catalog that I am still torn on if it was a good idea. It was really nice. It definitely helped us establish some credibility, but more people took it, I think, and probably like didn't look at it again. More people wanted to touch and feel the actual samples, which I think speak for themselves. And then we had everything hang tagged and labeled really clearly, like what the price break is, what the color options are, a picture of the style on a person. And I think that was definitely a bigger selling point than the catalog. We talked to a lot of people about like how to get people in our booth. We were wondering if setting up meetings in advance to have people come and sit down with us and place their order, if that was a big part of this kind of trade show. So we tried that a lot. We sent out a postcard. It was really interesting trying to figure out some of the marketing pieces that would work. I'm personally not, like, it's not my area of expertise. So We talked to a lot of people, and the mailer that we did said, like, if you set up a meeting with us, you'll get a free tank. And usually our tanks are like one of the best ways to gain clients because it's such a great product and people are not expecting a high quality workout tank for free. I think we got like 2 meetings maybe, and one of them showed up. So I wouldn't recommend like putting a ton of effort into that. I think the best thing that we did was we got there, and I realized that there was no just like standing around. So we would walk out to every single person, hand them our promo material and say, are you looking for customized workout gear? And that was the first time that I saw it click for our customers. Because a lot of times I was sitting in gyms and explaining like what we do. And it was like the first time our exact target market was in front of us. And they were either like, yes, I have been looking for this, I need this, or like, nope, I don't need that. I know exactly what you're talking about. We are a spa, we don't need that right now. So that got us a lot more traffic, and we saw that like not many other people were doing that. Not many other booths were getting in front of people like that, and they would just be passed by. So what that turned into for us was really amazing connections. So we talked with the mind body coordinator, and for those of you not in the active world, mind body is the class system that people like check in for classes with at studios, and they have 7 different city managers. And so we met with the city manager of California, and she connected us with the corporate lead, and so we gifted all of the city managers, because of Active Collective, gifted everyone printed Mind Body My Movement apparel, and now are working with them directly, and their clients are our direct dream clients. So that was a really cool connection that we made. I connected with the buyer of Lifetime Athletic, which is a huge gym, and we talked a lot about like different projects we could work on together. We got our biggest sale from the trade show, and going into it, I set my goal. I truly only wanted one big sale to make it possible, to make it like all worth all of the work, all of the money. And we mainly got the one that someone sat down with us, placed their order, and it was a $6,000 order. So that was definitely worth it. We learned a lot. So in order to prep for that sale, we had, I think, 3 different tools. One of the tools was there were 4 of us working the booth. 2 people would always be in the booth, and then 1 person would kind of step in if like I was kind of, everyone always passed like the big sale potentials to me, and then someone else would be talking about the samples, and then someone else would be in the middle of the floor handing out flyers trying to get more traffic to us. And then the other person was either on break or running to get food. Tool number 2 to get sales was my husband actually created an app on Google App Sheets. He says it was really easy, so he can come on and tell you how to do that. And you enter all your fields of the information that you want to collect. And this was huge for us. So this was our email capture. It wasn't handwritten anywhere. We wanted it to look really professional and really streamlined. And so every time, and surprisingly, most people didn't have business cards. They'd either forgotten or run out, or like it just wasn't top of mind for them. And so this was a really easy way to be like, oh, no problem, like enter it into our app. And we could collect a lot more information that way too. And then after they left, I would, or one of us, whoever dealt with the client, would enter all of the notes that we wanted to remember, like, oh, this person owns this many studios, or they're looking for this product, or follow up with them in a month when they're starting to dive a little deeper into product search, or whatever it was. So that was tool number 2. And then tool number 3, we talked a lot about how to actually make the sale the day of, because we didn't anticipate like a ton of different sales constantly, like when you're at a retail trade show. So we knew we wanted like an invoice with all the product options in it. We wanted to show them the quote. And then like our invoicing process is just kind of tricky too, because you pick your colors, you pick your size runs, you pick where you want your print and how many colors your print has. So we decided that the easiest way would be to put a down payment for the order. And I wrote up the invoice and sat with the client and took the payment information. And then from there, followed up with them like the next week or I think the next week was fine, to be like, okay, here, we figured out all your print options. And then that established that relationship with that vendor. We didn't have a changing room in our booth. We didn't need it. It was an add-on that we could have bought, but because we were only bringing one size, most people were really good about just like seeing themselves in if it worked for that product, and most of them weren't buying for themselves, so it didn't matter. The swimwear side, everyone had a changing room and everyone had models wearing the swimsuits. So the two sides of the show were actually very different, but yeah, we did not need a fitting room. We brought way too many cards to hand out. I feel like we printed 1,000 and we probably needed like 200, just based on the foot traffic of the show. It was a slower show with really dedicated buyers. So yeah, just something that we learned after that we didn't need that many. I've been recycling them as like scrap paper for months now, because they had specific promos on them. So actually, speaking of promos, I don't think we needed to do a single promo. We had a promo on the card that was like free print with your first order, or something like that, and no one looked for that promo. It didn't drive any sales. It wasn't even a conversation point in like trying to close a sale. Like, it was that unnecessary. So that was good to know. We also had a little stand on the table, like one of those plexi things that you put your card in. Someone had told us like, oh, in order to like get your business card capture, like have a giveaway. And you hear that working for, like, I don't know, that you're going to win a new roof, that you put your business card in and you win something. So we had that you would win a $100 Visa gift card if you put your business card in there. But like I said, the app collecting business cards worked so well, and there wasn't enough traffic like constantly passing by that we were worried about missing someone. So we just didn't give away a gift card because we didn't have the $100 to put towards it, and it didn't matter. Like, no one even noticed it. I would say, other than that, like, to have on your table in your booth, keep it really, really simple. We had one little plant, our business cards, our fabric cards, and ultimately you want a place to sit down with your client so that you can close the sale. And yeah, no one's buying any of the inventory there, so samples are just for viewing. It was kind of fun, like some of the vendors sold their samples at the end of the show. So I went and bought some of that stuff. And we were like, oh, it would have been kind of nice to sell our samples too, so we didn't have to bring them home. But yeah, I had no idea that would have been happening. Bottom line, I would 100% do Active Collective again. That is our exact target market. It was spendy, but we got the large client that we were going after. And so to continue to kind of play in that field, I think trade shows are the way to go. Okay, Derek, let's see. How were price points as a more premium brand compared to the other vendors? Was this a concern for buyers? No, price points in the activewear category, like you and I are in, people expect it to be pretty premium. at this point. And let's see, compared to other vendors, we tried to price ourselves a little bit low in general as part of our business strategy. Not that I would recommend that necessarily, because we're now running into problems with our margins. So they're a little bit too low. So I would say, as compared to other vendors, yeah, everyone was kind of at the Lululemon wholesale price, which is exactly half of their retail price. Was this a concern for buyers? I mean, buyers are always looking at pricing, and I don't think a premium price is a concern for them if that's your target market. Natalie said it was great to get the context on the marketing activities. Yeah, hopefully that helped. It was a whirlwind for me to figure out what we should do. So if you ever have more questions on that, yeah, let me know for sure. Add a day for sightseeing, add a day for fabric sourcing. Anytime you go to a trade show, and talk to all the other vendors. Most of the other vendors, the people in the booth, were reps. I was one of the few owners, and that was a big thing to share with people that I was the owner. So thank you for listening. I love sharing the story about it. It was a huge learning experience. Let me know if you have any questions. And we're looking for someone to talk about what it's like. Have you been to Magic? So someone who's been to Magic for their first time experience, I'd love to have you on the show. Tomorrow we have Jane Hamill for 3 tips on improving sales to your website. She is really incredible with marketing. So if you need help with marketing, tune in, ask your questions, and she has some really great other resources too. Okay, bye.